very good evening. I'm your host, Deepthi Diwan, and I welcome you to the momentous occasion. Indeed, it's a special occasion for all of us at Future Generali as we come together to stand for solidarity and support to the LGBTQIA+ community. We have been celebrating Pride Month by educating ourselves and understanding the LGBTQIA community better. And it's lovely to see all FGIs on a single platform come together to show their support and be true allies. Now, I want to ask some of you, what are you most proud of about Future Generali? So can we have some answers from the audience? Just tell me what are you proud of being a part of Future Generali? Do you like the work ethics? Do you like the values? Do you like the work atmosphere? Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me what you like about being a part of Future Generali? Yes, the lady in the green. The lady in the green with the black. All right. Anybody, just tell me what you like about being a part of Future Generali. Yes. You like the work atmosphere? All three. All right. So what are the values that you like? Collaboration. All right. Teamwork. The atmosphere. All right. Great. So I'm going to tell you about one more thing today that is going to make you proud of being a part of Future Generali. Well, Future Generali as an organization believes in being an inclusive employer where everyone is welcome, where each of you can be your authentic selves, irrespective of your caste, your creed, gender, your thoughts, or your opinions. Future Generali believes in having a diverse workforce and is committed to providing an environment that accepts and respects the individuality and uniqueness of each person. No wonder then you have come out with flying colors in the GPTW Top 50 listing, a rank, and that too outshining all general insurance players. Indeed, that deserves a huge round of applause because that's a big feat and achievement. So coming back to diversity, the idea here is to create a culture that appreciates different individualities and provides everyone a level playing field. So irrespective of your partner preferences, whether you're a man who likes other men, or a woman who likes both men and women, or a transgender person, we want you around to bring your special character and your unique quality to the organization. Today's event, Pride Day, is a celebration of just that. So stand with pride. Before we proceed, I'd like to mention that you can share your pictures on social media using the hashtag #StandWithPride. So without further ado now, I'd like to proceed and I'd like to invite the MD and CEO of Future Generali, Mr. Anup Rao, to kindly join us and speak a few words. So can we have a huge round of applause for him, please?
All right. It's afternoon, everyone. And I really love the parade. What did you guys think of it? Honestly, I had so much fun. I haven't had so much fun in a long time. Thank you for the participation. And I'm really overwhelmed by the participation of everyone in Bombay and across other cities in India. So give yourselves a big round of applause. I think you have the spirit going. And I think we're building a truly inclusive workplace. Now, there was a speech written for me and I haven't looked at it. But I just want to say something. I have a fundamental question. Why do organizations exist? They exist because they should provide shareholders a return, right? Fundamentally, that's why they exist. If people don't make money, organization will dissipate, will implode. The most important thing for an organization is to be financially viable and successful. That is the bedrock on which great things can be built. But while we do that, we have an opportunity to do good. And I think all of us are privileged to work in Future Generali. All of us are privileged to hold positions where we can make a difference to the community. 3 years back, I had said that we want Future Generali to be an employer of choice. We said that it will be a place where people can fulfill their personal and professional goals and dreams. For the last 3 years, we've been voted as among the great work for the best workplaces in India, 3 years in a row, and that's quite a rare feat. So again, a round of applause. And it's a survey done externally, right? I mean, it's not something that we controlled. It's how people have rated us, ranked us. And this year, just a few days back, I had the honor of receiving the award on your behalf. You were ranked number 32 across companies, across industries, the only GI company in the top 100 in India. So let's pause for a minute and let the enormity of all that we have achieved collectively, let that all sink in. And, you know, we were going through, some of us in the boardroom were going through the survey, and then we realized that people said that, you know, we like this place because it's got empathy, you know, there's empowerment, there is fairness, there is meritocracy, there's acceptance. But if you notice the choice of words, they don't talk about market share, they don't talk about growth, they don't talk about compensation. They talk about things which are hygiene in nature, which people, human beings should be able to take for granted. Now, to come back, we have the ability or the resources to do good. The kindness and compassion we show each other, can we extend that further? During COVID, and I'm very proud of our management team, we didn't lay off a single individual. Companies laid off people, we didn't lay off a single individual, not even somebody from the temp staff, not even a single security guard or housekeeping staff. We didn't dock salaries, we give people increments and bonuses like any other year. We give promotions like any other year. I think that consistency of management behavior is what has made us a great place to work. I would request you all to extend that courtesy to a larger section of society. I think kindness, inclusiveness does not discriminate. It cannot discriminate. Otherwise, it can't be kindness. It can't be called inclusiveness. So again, let's embrace today. June is a Pride month. I mean, it's a very festive month. We have two very strong ambassadors of the moment here. Thank you for making the time. Really appreciate your presence here. And you are the stars of the show, so I'm not going to take much of your time. But really, I think we are privileged to be, I say that again, I'm going to go on like a stuck record, but we are privileged. We have the ability to do good to society. So let's make use of that. So there are three things I want you to focus on. Greater diversity. I would want more women in the organization, ideally a 50-50 mix. I want people with special needs and abilities to be included in this organization, make this organization a place where they can find, you know, a way to give their best every single day and then meet their aspirations, career aspirations, personal aspirations. And thirdly, be truly inclusive. Be truly inclusive and make sure that we have people who can be out at work, LGBTQIA+, and we can celebrate that. One last thing, there's a difference between tolerance and acceptance. And let's understand that it's very easy for us to tolerate something, but I don't like that word. I want us to accept. I want acceptance from all of you. Thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege for me to lead your organization. And you have made, I mean, all of us very proud. And thank you again so much for gracing the occasion. And I'll hand it over to the MC to do the honors and introduce our wonderful guests here today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Rao. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please, for setting the tone for what's coming ahead. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Future Generali Group is privileged to introduce and welcome Ms. Selina Jetli Hag, actress, UN Equality Champion, brand ambassador, activist, and globally acknowledged beauty icon. The former Miss India and Miss Universe runner-up has played a stellar role in taking up LGBTQ issues and has been a vociferous human rights activist. Her courage of conviction and proactive contribution to the LGBTQIA movement has caught the attention and endorsement of the UN Human Rights Office. She has led the Kindly Light through music videos for gay rights. I'm sure you're all waiting to hear from her. So without further ado, I'm going to invite her on stage. Please put your hands together for Miss Selina Jaitley Hag.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sure you all are gay and happy today. So am I. I've come all the way from Austria to meet all of you. So I flew all night last night and I'm here. Anoop, thank you for having me over. Ruchika, you too, thank you so much. I really applaud this initiative because there's such few corporates in our country that go out of their way to have initiatives that truly make your workplace inclusive. And as Anoop said, there's a difference between being tolerant and accepting, you know. So you all must be wondering that, okay, we accept LGBT people, everything is fine, we're a great corporate now. What else do I do, right? I'm sure I can see it on everyone's face here. Or kya karoon? You know, so what you can do is, the thing is, you as a straight ally, bring a different perspective to the conversation. It's not about just doing something, it is about doing the right thing. Okay, and you as a straight ally bring that perspective to the conversation because what you are doing is the right thing and you take it back home. And you know what? This is like a chain reaction. It increases and it goes on. So that is very important. And let me tell you, I have been an LGBT rights activist for more than 2 decades now. I think I was myself born an activist because when I came into this world, I don't think there was even the E of equality existed. I have seen friends in school. I've seen some people very close to me suffer from depression, suffer from all sorts of violations for just being themselves. And you know what? You either have to be blind or you have to be mentally incompetent not to notice all the things which are absolutely heartless that go around you. And that is why it is important to raise your voice, and you can raise your voice in the right way. You can raise your voice even in a whisper and make a change. So with that, I'm not going to go on forever. It's a pleasure being a part of such a noble initiative today. What I say is that all of you support the person around you. Just treat them like you and me because they are no different from us. Nobody's different. We all are humans. We all are born free and equal. Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lena. That was indeed wonderful. And we're waiting to hear more from you in the forthcoming parts. Well, now I'm privileged and honored to introduce our next guest of honor today. And let me introduce a little bit. Hailing from the Indian grounds and having made their community proud time and again, Sushan Divjikar, aka Rani Kohinoor, is the queen of many firsts who wears multiple hats. Rani has been an unrivaled youth icon who keeps stunning the world with their art through channels of music, acting, modeling, drag performances, and a lot more. Wins under their crown include being the first trans artist to be listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 list. I think we should have a huge round of applause for that. Top influencers by Outlook Business List and GQ's 50 most influential young Indians list. Opening novella gates for their community, they've shattered all glass ceilings by also being the first Indian trans artist to be featured on the third largest billboard at the Times Square. Marking another historic chapter in their achievements book, they've also represented the country by being the first Indian drag queen to be a part of the Queen of the Universe, produced by multi-Emmy Award winner and international drag icon RuPaul in association with Paramount Pictures. With a host of thoughtful brand associations, having won a ton of accolades, and being a true blue inspiration to the youth in our country and beyond, they continue to open doorways that people were even afraid to knock on. So please welcome Sushant, aka Rani.
I say namaste, okay? So it's namaste, but you have to slay every day, all right? Put your hands together for all of you. First of all, fantastic. And Anup ji, thank you so much for doing this because, and I was just talking to the gentleman here and I said, I inquired because I went through some of the, I was on the external panel for to look at the surveys and I said, was it the one that happened at Marriott? And I couldn't make it the other day, but congratulations to all of you for being 32nd in the country. And you know, a lot of people ask me, what is non-binary? What is gender fluid? What is transgender? And I said, it's just another human being just like you in the mirror. You know, it's very simple. Gender is, there could be many genders, there could be many orientations. A lot of people are like, how can you be transgender? Why don't you do something with your voice? And I'm like, you know, a lot of people have these misconceptions that, you know, trans women, this is also thanks to our media and some of the films that are unable to understand the nuances. But I think that Selena, and I put my hats off to you, Selena, for doing this at a time when no other mainstream actor or actress had the, you know, guts to come out and say, I get emotional, come and support. And Selena has supported the community, me personally, when I went for my pageants, and she's been a mentor to so many of my children. And thank you so much, Selena. It means a lot. And when we talk about allies, you don't have to be gay or you don't have to be LGBTQIA plus to support LGBT rights, because just like you don't have to be an animal to support animal rights, you don't have to be gay to support gay rights or transgender rights. And I think that that's the power of an ally, and we can't function in a vacuum. I don't want to see, of course, I want to show the stories of success of my transgender brothers and sisters, but I also want you to know the reality that as I speak to you in front of, in this air-conditioned room, at least one sister on the same signal that I passed to come to this door is standing and begging for her livelihood. And I don't think that should happen. So I'm not going to be emotional about this, but yes, I am not going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to make sure everybody's educated. They get their basic requirements, which is respect, dignity, and integrity, and education. Education is something that can take you everywhere, right? So I think everybody deserves education. And I heard about Future Generali doing so well and so many provisions for the LGBT community. Thank you so much. And I hope to see so many other queer people. I just saw Zoya. I don't know whether she's there. She's the first transgender reporter and photojournalist in India, and she was here outside. And I want to see so many people in the corporate settings, because if I wasn't an artist, I have a double master's in psychology and in industrial and organizational behavior. So if I wanted to take up a job, I would probably be part of you. But everybody's not as privileged as me. I've had wonderful allies in Selena and so many other people that I've worked with, but not a lot of people like me have the support. So I want you all to take a pledge today that whenever you see any discrimination happening, इतना मैंने इंग्लिश में बोली आपको मतलब you're all good, no? I can speak in 5 other languages. हाँ? You're okay ना? मी मराठीमध्ये पण बोलू शकते हा बिलकुल. हाँ, मी मराठी मुलगीच आहे ना. मुंबईची आहे. So my thing is that because it should reach a larger audience and people should see it, I'll choose English, but you can always have me speak in another language. I'll love to. And you know, I want you all to take a pledge today that whenever you see any person. It doesn't have to be gay, lesbian, bisexual. If you see someone who's older with, who has special needs, as Anupji said, anybody who is going through turmoil or going through a difficult time and you think you can help them, please do it. Don't wait for the next person to do it, because the next person will look at you and help you helping someone. All right. So can we hear a yes? I love it. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I'm sure the audience is now waiting to hear a lot more. So we move on to the fireside chat. Indeed, it's time to get candid now and learn in detail about the LGBTQIA plus community. And we'll have a very candid chat. Post that, we shall have the Q&A, so which gives the opportunity to all of you present here, and also our teams joining us online on the virtual platform to pose questions to our guests. So we'll come to that later. But before that, now it's my pleasure to invite our CEO, Mr. Anup Rao, to join us to chat with our esteemed guests. So may I please invite him on stage? Can we have a round of applause for him, please? And I'll invite our guest, Ms. Selina Jetli-Haq, to please join us so that we can initiate this chat. And let's have a round of applause. And now I'd like to invite Sushant, aka Rani, to join us and get ready for a very lovely chat that we would all like to hear. All right, so round of applause, please, for all our guests.
And put your hands together for a lovely MC today. Wow, what a good job you're doing. Thank you, sweetheart.
So once again, to the audience here, please take pictures and post them on social media using the hashtag #StandWithPride.
Film festival, the NGO, anywhere, the clinic. I've never seen anyone do it.
Hello, yeah, you've been in the media for a while for LGBTQI rights.
Yes. That's why I said that at a time when they were so like reluctant to come in and speak about it.
All right, so our team has set up the video cameras. I think we are good to go.
Okay, so again, a confession. This is my first. I've been interviewed. This is the first time I'm interviewing. I've only interviewed people when they've come to apply for jobs. I've never done something like this.
This way of being employed here or not?
Well,
We're joining the team. We better, like might as well join
sure,
the
my
gang.
HR is right here, so can issue an offer letter right now.
Wonderful.
Yep. So thank you again. Thank you for making the time. Thank you so much. So fine. So I'll just start with you, Selena. Again, I had a bunch of questions which I'm just ignoring for now. I might have to refer to it later on. But we had the short conversation, and then everything is very mental, right? I mean, everything is in the mind, and I can only imagine the pressures you go through in case your sexuality is different, your gender preferences are different, so on and so forth. So, to use a tangential example, in your case, you've been a successful star and perfect life, not a hair out of place, always looking good. Can that pressure get to you sometimes, and how did you deal with it? Because it can't be easy being in the public eye.
The thing is that nobody is born perfect, and that is something that no one like me, which people who always stay in the limelight, we never talk about that. We never talk about the fact that I'm human like you and me. I cry, I lose my parents, I lose a child, and I have to still look good. So it is about using your mind, not to overcome, but to be victorious over every circumstance that comes your way. Because we will never in our life have a straightforward journey. We all are going to go, like I'm sitting in front of you right now, but just 2 years ago, I lost both my parents. I lost my son. Okay. And I have been through many highs and very, very lows. But keeping it together is not just about finding help or reading a book. It is about going to that place within and reaching out to people around you. Don't be afraid to reach out when you are down and out. There is nothing wrong with being low or that day just not going fine for you. This can happen to everyone. This is a part of us being humans. If we could go through everything in life, we would be God. I don't even know if God exists, because if he was there, he would be here. So I'm an atheist. So just I believe in the laws of the universe. But just generally speaking, we need to look within ourselves and also have the courage to reach out at the right time to whomever we feel comfortable in. And it's okay to be low sometimes and accept it. Then gather your energy and move on. So all people like us who do have every hair in place may be completely falling apart while they speak to you. May be completely crying after having done the most hilarious scene in a film, maybe crying for 10 days in a row for you will never know what. So this is life, but every human has the strength within to overcome it. And don't forget that. Don't think that you are the only one going through a bad time. Every human, or maybe some go more and some go less. We have to look around all the positive things that give us the energy to survive, that uplift us. It may be our parents' blessing in our life. It may be our mother. It may be a great job, a great CEO, a great mentor. It may be a inclusive working environment. It may be money in the bank account. So count your blessings. Believe me, it helps. And there's a very famous dialogue from one of my films. I'm sure you all will know. It's called Be Positive. Yeah, so just be positive.
Thanks, Selena. Thanks for that. So, Shashank, so obviously it must have been hard, very hard for you to come to terms with your own identity or identification. And when did you decide to come out, and how? And how did it, and what, like Selena mentioned that, reach out to people, get help. So were there people around you who made it possible? People around you who made it even more difficult? Were you all alone? Were you lonely? How was your journey?
So, for any queer child growing up in India, it's very difficult because first of all, you have conflicts within yourself. You're like, I'm not being represented in the films. I'm not being represented at the workplace. I don't see people like me succeeding and or educated or successful. And then you also have conflicts from other people, which are the extrinsic. So there's intrinsic and then there's extrinsic. So the outside world is never, I think it's a human thing. हमें दबोचना बड़ा अच्छा लगता है ना लोगों को. So the thing is that then I have to keep reminding people that जो मेरे community say, या for the trans women that come to bless your children, why do you call them? Do you even know why you call the trans women that come to bless your children? Because they are the closest in their journey to God. Because that is the Hijra community, especially, is the closest to God. That's why they have the power to bless you, na? Why are they coming and you're all taking also their blessings? Means it's people have stopped understanding the whys and the hows. And they will just go by, you know, where blindly follow people that say that this is not part of our culture. I'm from India. Look around you. Everybody looks different. Everybody worships another god, and everybody is living harmoniously. So why are we, this homophobia and transphobia is a foreign import, not homosexuality. Homosexuality and transgenderism is not a foreign import or an idea. We are the land of diversity. So when we allow people to tell us that नहीं आप अलग हो और इसीलिए आप गलत हो, ये आप भारत में बोल रहे हैं, मतलब आप तो पागल ही होंगे फिर. So my thing is that then I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, हाँ मैं हूँ अलग, and thank God मैं अलग हूँ. एक जैसे ही सब दिखने लग जाते या बोलने लग जाते, कितना बोरिंग होता. How boring it would be if all of us were the same. I mean, I wish I would look as pretty as Selena on some days, but it's not, and I am still beautiful. I'm amazing, as is she, as are all of you. And I think beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. I learned to understand that in the pandemic, because before that I used to live exclusively as male. फिर मैंने सोचा यार नहीं, because I said I'm a beautiful combination of male and female. I'm a beautiful amalgamation of both energies, and without these two energies being mixed, humanity cannot go ahead. You cannot have humanity to function without both male and female. So why should I be afraid of it? I'm going to show you both. So if I look like this and if I sound like this, it's fine. So what? That I can still hit, I have a 4-octave range, which 4 Indians have. 4 Indians out of 1.5 billion. वो नहीं देखेंगे. ये मुझे जाके बाहर means internationally I will make this country proud, because ये मेरा इतना है, जितना आपका देश है उतना ही मेरा है. So you can try and break me. It's another thing that I won't, because my parents have taught me never to give up and to always be honest. So that's what I'm doing, I believe. I think I'm not giving up and I'm being honest to myself.
Thank you. Thank you. So that was very powerful. Thank you so much. So your parents were supportive of,
yes.
They were, okay. And that's a big blessing.
My parents are superstars. You ask her, and that is why. And now she's a parent, so she is bringing up her children, teaching them all of these things, inclusion, and it's a given, you know, in families like ours. And for me and for my parents, I think it was even a bigger task to embrace, because I see a lot of people my age that children are, you know, asked to leave the house, thrown out of the house. And as I said, education is what they lack and therefore don't get jobs. So when we ask ourselves, what can we do for the trans community, especially for the trans community, is to educate them, give them the basic thing, you know, and every child deserves love. If you're a parent, if you want to call yourself mom or dad or a parent, you are not a parent if you don't have a child. The child gives you वो औदा होता है ना एक माँ बाप का, वो आपको बच्चा देता है. So if you're not going to unconditionally love your child, then you're not a parent. You're delusional. That's what you are. You're a lot of things, but you're not a parent. So the least we can do is to love our children of our country and give them the benefit of conversation, benefit of love. And that's what they deserve. Every child deserves that. My parents gave it to me. Today, I am a mother to 225 children. People ask me, how are you a mother? You didn't give them. I didn't give them birth. I gave them love. And I have 225 children all over the world. And to all of them and my sisters and everyone, I just want to say you're not alone. And none of us are alone. You'll find an ally. I found it in her. I found it in some of my other wonderful family. We'll all find someone. Don't give up. That's my thing. So, yeah.
Thank you. So,
हाँ बजाओ ना आप ताली, फिर मेरी बहनें बजाती हैं ताली तो आप डरते हो. आप बजाओ.
So Serena, tell us, as an organization, what can we do to be more inclusive? I mean, we talk a lot about it. We have those conversations, but what can we do to make people, how do we encourage people who are differently abled, who come from a gender which is not binary, who have different sexual orientation, to actually come to this organization and join us? I think one of the things which Sunil keeps telling me is that, he struggles to get candidates now. And I know it's true because I've seen him do that, because you've tried very hard over the last year or two to get people or differently abled or of a different sexuality, so on and so forth. So what would you recommend, since you've been an activist, a successful one for so long?
Since you're interviewing me, I think hiring me as a consultant would work very well doing that. So we will. So first I will have a conversation with the head of HR. So this would be a separate. So having said that, all things begin with those difficult conversations which must be had. Putting yourself as an inclusive organization out there is very important for people, for talent from the LGBTQIA community to actually reach out to you. So I think you need to be more organizations generally. You are a very inclusive organization, and I can see that, and this is great, but this message needs to go out wider, bigger, and louder. Because, we live in a country that is humongous. There is so much talent in our country. Yeah. Also putting out LGBT programs. As Sush said today, education is very important. If you want to hire more LGBTQIA staff, I think putting out LGBT exclusive programs, which are scholarships and so many different things out there for this talent to reach you. You already are giving them a wonderful environment to grow to their maximum potential. But providing that extra push, providing extra recruitment rallies exclusively for LGBTQIA, this is what is going to get them out of their shell. So it's all about spreading the message, going loud with the message and being out there that yes, we are here. We want the rainbow. We want it here in our organization, and the talent needs to reach out to us. And another thing is that in general, the LGBTQIA community, not everybody comes from a very privileged background. As Sush said, that some are very fortunate. Sush takes care of so many people. That's my younger sister that I call her Sush, so I'm going to call her Sush. Sush takes care of so many individuals whom she calls her daughters. In the same way, the organization also needs to reach out and maybe even help certain individuals after interviewing them and seeing potential in them to reach up to your level of desired qualification and ability. So all the things that they didn't have, fill in the gap. Fill in the spaces, the empty spaces in between. Once you start doing that, you never know that you may have the next Tim Cook on board. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
All right. Thank you. So I have a follow-up question to that. To me, it seems that, in case you're a compassionate individual, the right thing to do would be to be more exclusive, more accepting. I think not being homophobic or transphobic, as Shushan pointed out, should be natural, should be intrinsic to us, right, as human beings. And again, you've been an activist. I see a lot of compassionate people around me, but who are not accepting. Why do you think that happens? Why is it so difficult for people to be compassionate and accepting towards a community which is not like them?
A brilliant question, because I'm sure a lot of people, they're okay with it. You yourself said there's a difference between tolerance and acceptance. So a lot of people are in tolerance mode. Kyun? Because samajh nahi aata yaar. Kya hai? It is very important for organizations to encourage those difficult conversations on certain days, maybe once a week, once a month. I don't know, choice is yours. There are some very difficult conversations. What is LGBTQIA? When are you going to have that conversation openly within your organization? And to all of you out here, don't be afraid to ask questions. But when you ask that question which makes you uncomfortable, make sure that you're respectful of the person's private space when you ask. हमारे country में सबसे बड़ी problem is this. इसमें लड़का कौन है और लड़की कौन है इस relationship में is the first question that people want to ask. So this is a disrespectful question because I don't walk up to you and ask you what you do in your bedroom or who's on top and who's on bottom when you're making love with your life partner. I'll be very frank with you. So now this is a difficult conversation which I just had here, but I made you all inclusive of it. I know someone just went. No, but exactly, so exactly as Sush said. So it is important to take out time, maybe once a week, once a month, and have these difficult conversations over a cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever's easier. You have to decide that. I prefer a glass of wine. So have that conversation, answer the questions, and be respectful while asking questions. And when you start having these difficult conversations, even 3 months down the line, you will automatically, the person who used to be tolerant has suddenly become accepting. That person is able to educate their child, their wife, their brother, their sister, their father, their mother at home. And as I said, it's a chain reaction. It goes on and on and on.
Thank you, Selena. I think a round of applause, please, for the answer. So Sushant, you obviously, you've shown a lot of courage to come out. There would be people in this audience who would want to come out and don't have the courage. What would your advice to them be?
And one thing I would just like to say, this my father taught me, huh? He said not to accept, but to respect. Acceptance, if I'm saying, okay, I accept. One thing is to tolerate. Tolerate should not be only in our when we talk about inclusion, but acceptance also is sort of a very, I'm straight, so I'll accept you because you're gay. I'll accept your gayness. आपको किसने मेरे ऊपर डाला है? आपको क्या लगता है? आपको किसने कहा कि आप मुझे accept कर सकते हैं? मैंने इस उम्र में, if at this age I can represent my country, n number of, I've forgotten. I come and give the awards to my parents, I've forgotten. आप मुझे accept करेंगे? आपकी औकात है? So it's now see how अब ऐसे बात करते तो बोलते यार कितना खौफ पैदा करती हैं ये. So my thing, आपके ज़बानी से, आपके अल्फाजों से, with your lack of intellect on my existence, it's not just another gender I tick, my darlings, it's my existence, my breathing time on this planet. Is for you, if it becomes, I accept, I don't want your acceptance. I'm probably paying more bills than a lot of people that want to accept me, and more taxes. So my thing is that it's not acceptance, it's respect. There's a difference between accept and respect. So let's start using respect, as Selena said very beautifully. She's like, we have to respect. You have to respect the conversation you're having, must be respectful and respected. So I think that it starts and ends with respect. And I just wanted to say that, it was, for me, coming back to your question, Anup, are you startled? Like, what is this one saying? I've always been like this. I've always been. This is the reason why I think that, people are very, very related. It's very relatable. People think I am. But my thing is that for me, I honestly believe that it's a very simple thing. You're here, you're queer, whether you're queer or straight, doesn't matter. You have to be respected. I have to be respected as much as you, not more or less than you. What happens is that, when we show that, oh, we're doing this, automatically we feel like, why? Why are we made to feel like we're secondhand? So I think that when we do that, and I think I see that happening. Even Ruchika, when we had the conversation, Ruchika was so wonderfully, she handled this whole thing, and the conversation we had. I thought that a lot of people should learn from her how to have the conversation or how to initiate conversation with a queer person. Because a lot of times they'll be like, "Aap aaiye," and then it makes it look like someone's doing someone a favor. Nobody's doing anyone a favor. They come to work, they're doing your company good. 30-second again in the country. Yes, put your hands together. So nobody's doing nobody a favor. We're all here for a common goal in an organization, and that is to see the organization succeed. And in the interim, if we succeed and get a promotion and become the CEO, fantastic. But our common goal is to make the organization go forward. So मेरा तो यही है. आपका क्वेश्चन मैंने शायद आंसर किया ना किया, बट मेरे को ये रिस्पेक्ट और एक्सेप्टेंस का ना मेरे को बहुत ऐसा लगा, तो I had to say. What was your question again? Thank you.
The question really was, and I'll repeat the question, and maybe both of you can answer it. The question was that how do you enable people to come out at work now? So I know of an organization, the CHRO there is a good friend of mine. So they had something called Out at, name of the organization. I don't want to mention it.
Sena, we won't go.
So they drove that pretty hard. They said that, we want people to come out at work, and people who came out at work, they went and told the CHR later on, we wish we never did, because it's horrible. So that's not a situation you want. So there were two questions to it, really, two parts. I mean, how do people come out? And how do you make sure that they don't feel bad about the fact that they came out? They don't feel worse.
I'll tell you one thing, you don't have to come out, huh? If I'll say you might not be as open as me or Inder sitting here or Zoya. We don't have to be as open as us. You could probably go and have a conversation with your HOD, or you could go with your HR and say that this is. If they out you publicly in front of everyone, see, you can have one person who can be your ally at the workplace. You don't have to be out to everyone. That one person will be there to take care of you because that's their job. That's their department, to take care of you, human resources. So my thing is that you don't have to be worried about, nahi, mujhe to karna hai, hum krantikari banenge. Aisa bhi nahi hai. You don't have to come out because everyone else is out around you in your friend circle. You don't have to do that. So my thing is that it's just.
Selena?
Close my mic up. Not joking. So I agree absolutely 100% with Sush. You see, especially in India, in our culture, we are not coming out even as straight people that I'm straight to our families. Because there is so much complication with different religions, with different family backgrounds, with different traditions. So we are already dealing with a lot that goes on. And then you go to an office environment where people, a corporate environment in the modern times today, that people are from different backgrounds. Everybody's acceptance or tolerance is not of the same level. So also, as Sush said, I really truly believe that coming out is a personal choice. A person has to be, I've spoken to so many people, person has to be comfortable, not just in the current environment or the office environment. A person has to be comfortable in their mind, because a person who is from the community, they are as it is going through their own conflicts since the day they were bloody born. They are fighting everything and everyone around them. Their whole life, all the things that you and I take for granted, going to school, having a boyfriend, sleeping with someone for the first time, drinking for the first time, smoking for the first time, getting a great job, getting a promotion. We do it because we take these things for granted, right? But there are people like Sush, okay, even though Sush is so blessed, and auntie, uncle are like my own parents to me, to have a very supportive family, but there are people from the day they were freaking born that they have to fight every step of the bloody way. And I say it like this because it is true. And to force someone, despite all those many conflictions within them and outside them and the families and the backgrounds they come from, to come out is not right. So if you suspect that somebody is LGBTQIA and you would like them to come out, but they are not coming out, it's okay. The best way to support them is to be normal around them. Do not force them to divulge to you what you are. But if you see that their rights or their respect or them being, be mindful of your conversation. Be mindful of how you talk. The most important thing is that we need to have conversation. We need to watch when we talk and not bring discriminatory slurs. वो तो गे है, वो तो छक्का है, वो छक्की है, she likes girls, he likes boys, इसमें से लड़का कौन है, लड़की कौन है. That's none of your business. Your business is to accept a person based on their talent, their personality. If they want to open up to you, they will. If they want to open to HR, chief of HR, they will. If they want to open to Ruchika or to Kunal, they will. Anup, I'm so sorry. I get so moved.
Your name today.
I get so moved when I talk about this because I have seen people being forced to come out into in a corporate environment, and they go through a very, very difficult time because not everybody, he's ready to come out, but not, or she's ready to come out, especially with lesbian women also. I've seen this, or a trans person. अरे अब तो तू लड़की के कपड़े पहनेगा, अब तो crew cut कराएगी. This is the attitude because the people around are not ready for the person to come out, and you say that you're trying to be inclusive. Right? So that's where we go wrong. So give them their space, give them their respect, and treat them as you would want someone else to treat you.
And I think that was wonderful. Put your hands together for Salina. And
long lecture.
no, lovely. But I think that also how we can achieve this is by policies. You have to have policies. You have to have umbrella policies, which are anti-discriminatory policies, not for men, women, or trans, or any other, categories. You kind of characterize them as something, and then you get your provisions. I think there should be an umbrella anti-discriminatory policy, which you have all the rights to make for your company. And I think once you do that, फिर कोई भी किसी को ऐसे, even if you make fun of somebody, they can lose their job. So वो थोड़ा खौफ सब में होना भी चाहिए, हाँ, ताकि आप किसी को insult ना करो, या फिर किसी को you don't push them to that extent of going into therapy, or it's not their fault that they are like that. Or when you said हाँ अभी तो लड़की की कपड़े, हाँ और मैं बहुत अच्छी भी लगती हूँ. I look stunning na today. Say yes. I love how I give you all thumkies.
No, we do have fairly robust and strong policies, but the idea is to actually create a culture which finally supersedes rules, right? At the end of the day. So we have a health product which covers mental wellness, right? So, we are an outlier in the industry, so people can actually seek treatment, psychological treatment, meet a counselor. We also cover OPD. And one of the things we discovered was that mental illness is more prevalent in the LGBTQI community compared to, so there's discrimination right there, if you ask me. Besides that, where are the areas, Selina, you think organizations can make a difference? What kind of product services, I'm using that for lack of a better word, are found unsuitable for the queer community?
Okay, I'm coming on as a consultant starting right now. Well, when you talk about health in general for any individual, especially the LGBTQIA community, they come with their own challenges. The trans people are going through their own set of, everybody from the community, if we let's talk about in general about the community, they have their own set of challenges. When we talk about mental health, I think mental health in general in India, everybody is going through massive challenges, specifically post-COVID. Yeah, we've seen of recently an increase in suicide rates across India. And the whole reason is that it is a big taboo to talk about mental health. So even if someone who's cisgender and they go and say, I'm having depression, are kya depression yaar, to mummy to, if I would have gone when I was young and told my mother I'm depressed, ek thappad padta khich ke, depression theek hai. You know, it was like that because we grew up like that because nobody took mental health seriously. Nobody understood that yes, depression can happen. It can happen because there's too much stress of school. I didn't get through AFMC or I didn't get through IIT. My parents don't accept me. I'm gay. I'm trans. I'm struggling with my identity. So it is very important to not specifically group your policies only on the mental aspect of it, because a lot of things, especially for trans people, I think you should have a very separate, completely separate, you should have, I'm coming on as a consultant and then we shall talk. But but for trans people, you should have a different, something completely different for, you know, someone who's lesbian or someone who's gay or, you know, because every human bodies in general, their requirement is different. Let the people decide what is right for me. But your policy should be as wide and as bright as the rainbow in many different colors. So each one can be tailored to each individual's need.
That's very well said.
Yeah.
So we hopefully should surprise you in a couple of months from now. So
Because she'll definitely be there as a consultant, I'm sure now. I'm sure.
So Shushant, you would like to any your perspective on this?
I think she summed it up beautifully. I would just like to put, you know, wo aise copy karte the na. Sometimes I was so bad at copying, I used to put the ditto marks also. So I'm saying ditto. Whatever you said, I thought it was beautifully said. So I think I'm going to resonate what she said.
Thank you. So any concluding remarks? I mean, I've overshot my time, I think, right, Ruchika? We're on time, just about on time. So you have some questions from the house, from
Yes.
the audience, but is there anything else which is close to your heart which you want to speak about?
You go first, na?
I would just like to say one thing. I'd like to sum my advice to all of you in three things, in three ways. One is Janashin, one is no entry, and one is Golmaal. Now you'll be thinking, what the heck is she talking about? She's talking about her own films. So it's as simple as this. Don't do Golmaal around LGBT people. Give them the respect that you expect to receive for yourself. No entry into disrespectful areas. When you're talking to an LGBTQIA colleague, don't cross the boundaries. That's a no entry. Mind your language. Don't use racist slurs while talking. You know, talk to them exactly the way you wish to be talked to. And make the rainbow your Janashin. Janashin matlab dil ke kareeb. You know, as simple as that. Yeah.
I've watched 2 out of those 3 movies. Yeah, I do.
I would just like to say that thank you so much for listening to us. I think thanks Anup and your entire team for having this conversation, because conversation is where it starts. बहुत ऐसे लोग होंगे जिनको पता भी नहीं होगा कि what is LGBTQI का full form क्या है. But by sitting here and being you know, aware of things is when change starts. And I think that for you to have this conversation with somebody who identifies as queer and somebody who has been a very vociferous voice for the queer community in an organizational setting that is aspiring to be probably at the top of you know, the charts when it comes to an inclusive environment, a workspace. I think that this over here is the start of change. And I thank all of you for being a part of this. Thank you.
Should we move to the audience? I'm sure they have a couple of questions.
Right, absolutely. First of all, I think this was a wonderful, wonderful chat, and we've had some great insights and learnings, especially when Miss Lena spoke about the fact that we need to have regular conversations, and also when Rani spoke about the fact that acceptance and respect, more importantly, not tolerance and acceptance, respect, and also the fact that we need to have policies in place. So I think, and many, many more insights. So thank you so much for sharing that. This was wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, yes, the floor is open to questions from you now. We'll bring a mic to you so that you can ask any questions. We also have our online audience on the virtual platform. We'll be taking questions from them through the virtual chat box. So please type in your questions should you have any questions to ask our guests, and we'll take those. Starting now, from the audience which is present right here. Should you have a question, please raise your hand so that we bring the mic to you. And also remember to kindly keep the questions short and relevant to the occasion. Thank you so much. Any questions here?
Don't be shy, guys. See this. You all have homework today to have the conversation you really want to ask. Don't be shy. Ask the question that comes to your mind. We are here to answer you.
So there's one question which comes up to me regularly. So maybe you can just address the audience before people get warmed up. A lot of times when I talk to people about the need to have diversity in their teams, be it gender, be it especially able, or from the community, you get this pushback saying that, and fairly random, saying that, the team spirit ka kya hoga? We can't be on backslapping terms. Hum mazak nahi kar sakte. People will take offense, so on and so forth. There's one thing is to tell them that, this is not the appropriate way of addressing it or even thinking, but it's a real emotion or a feeling they have within them. And I've struggled to actually have those conversations with some of the senior people in my organization. What do you suggest I do to make sure that, we probably had the same problem. 20, 25 years back, I was working for an insurance company. The CEO was a lady. And my boss would say that, why are you hiring women under you? And then that too in sales. And I would say that your boss is for crying out loud, she's a lady. So what do you mean by, but somehow it doesn't seem to resonate, the kind of responses I give. So what do I suggest? What do you suggest I do to put them at ease or make them understand? Because I really don't want to disregard that, because that's not right.
दादा आप कितना मेरा माइक बंद करेंगे? हाँ? मैं आपके लिए गाऊं क्या? बाद में? But my thing is that when you spoke about, it's very important to also take that angst. What you need to do is a lot of yoga. Because ऐसे लोग हैं. But आपको क्या करना, you have to keep your mind in place and say that, okay, fine, like I'm the leader. Okay, and if they are leading specific departments, how do I make sure that they don't, I don't piss them off, but at the same time, they take care of the people at the end of the day. That's what I want. So, there are several ways to go about this. Again, now I'm also have to going to come back as a consultant, I think. But, the best thing to do is sensitization workshops. There are wonderful people in, there's Zainab Patel, who is the head of department for diversity and inclusion at KPMG. And she very regularly, see, first of all, I don't see too many trans people. So when you speak about this, it automatically makes them uncomfortable, because if I was here, I would be best friends with everyone. Regardless of कहाँ पे आप रहते हो, आपका religion क्या है, आप कैसे दिखते हो, I would be friends with everyone so that they would be comfortable in coming to work and being around me also. When you don't have as many people there, it's automatically going to be like, नहीं यार, I don't think, मतलब आप क्या बोल रहे हो? ऐसे तो कोई है ही नहीं. We don't see anyone like that. तो आप कुछ भी बोल रहे हो. It happens. So the thing is that, and again, why it happens, it goes back to, lack of opportunities and stuff like that. But what all you need to do is that you have to have sensitization workshops. And then say a prayer. And then Bhagwan Bharose sab kuch, please, like it's like that. And for you, yoga. Lots.
So you wouldn't think it's a good idea to actually push the agenda through and then insist that?
No, that's not your job. as the head of this, like you're heading the entire, you have आप कितना कितने में आप अपना दिमाग, you will get stress. Your wife will call me and say आपने गलत बोला.
My wife's a yoga teacher, but she's not.
Oh, fabulous! Big hands for Mrs. Rao.
But she refuses to take me in as a student. So
yeah, because don't take the stress from intermediate departments, or the stress within departments to your and table that on a macro level. If that's the thing, then if you think that this department is going through crisis or related to certain things, do a workshop with them. Not you, I'm saying have a consultant come and do the workshop with them, and then you will figure out what the what you need to do with them.
But Celia, in the first place, when people resist hiring people who are different from the way they are, how do you break that barrier in the first place? Because look, you got to start somewhere in the first place to have people they get comfortable with, and then maybe the number can increase. But how do you make that start?
See, we are in post Section 377 new era right now. It's very new. People are still learning to cis and LGBTQIA people are all getting comfortable with with their own freedom, because their freedom is only legal freedom. They are still battling a lot around them. So having said that, when team leaders come up to you, or say director of sale comes up to you and says, I'm sorry, it's difficult for me to have, we can't joke about it, and to change your bloody jokes.
Yes.
Yeah. Make your jokes more inclusive. Get a joke from the LGBT people on your team and say, you tell me a joke today. Let me make fun of the cis people today. So it's all boils down to inclusion. And with having events like you do today, which is a great step towards inclusion and diversity, because today, me and Sush, with both of us, and you yourself, you're involved in having some very difficult conversations in a very fun way.
Yes.
But this needs to continue. And if somebody says, I can't joke around a lesbian, gay, transgender person, then you change your bloody jokes. As simple as that. Get a joke book, get new joke, go on the internet. Jitna joke chahiye karo bhaiya, lekin change karo, joke change karo, style change karo. Because you know what? When we handle situations like this, keeping inclusion in mind, people have to change their attitudes, and changing attitudes only happens by encouraging those. They say, what is your problem? What joke do you want to? What joke do you want to? Suppose this person comes to you and says, what joke do you want to crack? You want to laugh because he or she, that woman dresses like a man, or this guy has a boyfriend. You want to joke about that? What's so funny? Would you like me to joke about you and your wife? No, so let's go to another joke. Let's have another joke there. So it's very important to tell them, no, it is not right. Change the conversation, change the attitude, change the joke.
Or don't laugh only at the joke with a straight face.
No, I think a lot of prejudice stems from fear. Not, because fear of the unknown, fear of something you don't know. That's been my take in some of the conversations I've had. Ignorance is what leads to bigotry. So do we have any questions? I can go on and on and on, and I'm sure you guys wouldn't like that.
I think we do have a question right here. So if that's okay.
Yeah, hi, myself Zoya Thomas Lobo. I'm India's first trans photojournalist, and my question is in such a way, like you are a CEO of a company, you're traveling on your way and your car stops at a signal and you encounter a trans who's educated and graduate, and you load down your glasses. What opportunity would you give to that trans? Join my company, or you'll smile and go ahead?
I think it's a very good question, and I'll be very honest. I wish I'd spent some more time thinking about it, but typically I wouldn't say this about anyone underprivileged. The principle I have followed, and my family follows, is to, give them food. And but I think it's a very good question, and frankly speaking, you put me in a spot here. I don't want to lie and make up an answer, but I think we could make a beginning by getting some of the transgender people to actually start working for organizations in roles which befit them. You know, somebody may not be educated, but I mean, a lot of people who work here are not educated. I mean, it's not. I mean, but they just happen to be not trans. So there's no reason to believe that the same organization I spoke about, where people came out at work and then it didn't quite work out. That organization has pantry boys, and I had that conversation today. You know who's from the trans community.
Sir, so my journey started as a photojournalist. Before being a photojournalist, I was been appointed as a journalist because when I did a short film on, that's success of that short film, I met a journalist and he appointed me as a journalist, but I was not knowing what is journalism, what work would be mine on the field. But slowly, when I did a general knowledge study on it, I got to know what is journalism. And today I'm here, I'm presenting my LGBTQI community, I'm representing my India. So I would think if you could give an opportunity to a trans person who's banging on a signal, could give her a good opportunity to be on a mainstream instead of banging on the road.
Yeah, and I think, it's very subjective. My thing is, first of all, I don't want to see so many people on the street. As she said, and then I don't want, this is where it starts. And for the audience that's watching us, if you're parents of queer children or, आपके बच्चे अगर कहते हैं आपको कि हम ट्रांस है तो आप उनको प्लीज बेदखल मत कीजिए. Don't disown them, because then we won't see them on the streets in the first place, and then that's how you kind of create change. Zoya, and thank you so much. And is also, your journey is also very inspirational to so many people. She bought her first camera by begging in the local trains. And today she is clicking pictures of some of the biggest events that happen and the biggest personalities in the world, not in the country. So I'm very proud of you. So हमारी बोली, it might sound a little harsh and it might sound, but हमारे दिल में कुछ है नहीं. हमारे दिल में कोई, we don't have anything, any negative feelings. It's just, because this is the life we've lived. And that's why it's, again, I'm saying, when someone ticks a box as, acha, oh, trans or other, that's another thing. Nobody's other, here. It's not male, female and other. You must be other. I'm trans. So it has to be, you have to be respectful. If I say transgender and other, aap other ho, how disrespectful it is. So these are conversations we need to change. And this is, once you do that, everybody will be educated. Yeah, we don't have a chapter on orientation and gender in school. We don't. And so we are the ones that will be the change. So together we change everything.
So the first time I'd been to Vienna, I think it was 6-7 years back. The traffic signals, are gender neutral. I mean, when you have a baby and then you have people of the same gender, which I thought was, was very symbolically strong. It does make you think and pause. And I think honestly, it's a very powerful question. It's probably the best question somebody's asked me in over a year. So thank you for that, Zoya. Thank you so much. And Sunil's disappeared just at the right moment. No, he's here. So.
Okay. I would like to say something to conclude this aspect of Zoya's question. It is, see, we still don't have an and your point also, we still don't have an educational system wherein sexuality of all human sexuality is discussed or studied, right? There's a long way to go to that. I'm sure it'll be included soon, God willing. But I think corporates like yours can have a massive outreach program to recruit talent. And even if you spot a certain percentage of talent in a person, someone like Zoya out there, suppose you're hiring Zoya as social media, chief of social media, give them the tools to be the best version of themselves, to reach their maximum potentials as human beings. And corporates like you have to do that. You have to have an outreach program for people to come and reach out to you and say, yes, I have a talent, I can add to your team. Give them a chance to say that, give them a tool to become better as well.
Thank you. Thanks for that. I think what the benefit of getting two consultants on board without paying for it. It's
for free.
All right, we do have a question from our audience, which is on the virtual platform. And this one is for Sushant. It says, can you please talk about your billboard at New York and Forbes 30 under 30?
Well, when I saw myself larger than life, I remembered where I started, and I again, as we said in the beginning, was respectfully and to never give up, to be myself. And I saw the cumulative of 29 years. I saw on that billboard. And I said, and of course, I was very emotional. And the first thing I wanted to do is to share that moment with my family. So I immediately called my mom and dad on FaceTime, and I called them, and they were also emotional. And when I see my parents emotional, to then to bhaiya, this like I become a. So I said, okay, fine, now let's revel this moment. Was I'll tell you the funniest thing is that it is 30 under 30. So I was 29 and I said, Chalo yaar, de do. My manager Nikki, filled in that thing and said, she'd like, you should be, because we got an email from them. They said, okay, apply for it. I said, abhi nahi hoga to fir finished. Because after that I would have been 30, crossed 30. So I sat and I said a little prayer and I said, okay, if you think that if this will give the courage to generations to come to do their best and be their best, then I request you. I believe in God. And I said that let this happen so that let this be a reminder to everyone that if I can do it, you can. And if I can do it, anybody can, honestly. I was very focused, and again, I just want to thank each and every one of the person that has been watching me in the media or watching my shows, attending my concerts for the past 16 years. And I just want to tell everybody that all of these accomplishments are basically yours. Because if you had not given me the love, I wouldn't be sitting here. So thank you.
Very well said there. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we have yet another question from our online audience. This lady wants to know, how can I get others to be more open-minded about the LGBTQ community?
Is this from an LGBT individual or is this
We do not know. It's from one of the
one of
employees
the
online.
employees? See, you don't have to do anything. You just have to see a straight ally or just an ally. Let's just not give any gender to the ally. Brings a very different perspective to the conversation. It's about how you speak when you talk about a person from the LGBT. Just by talking the right way, you can make a difference in your work environment, in your place of worship, when you talk to your kids at school, when you talk to your parents at home. You can use phrases which are not discriminatory or which do not have stereotypes attached to it. When you talk about a trans person, talk about trans people like Sush who have achieved something. So every trans person is immediately, or like Zoya who's achieved something, not immediately equated by somebody who's a sex worker or begs on the street, so that the person who begs on the street and is a sex worker can come up today and have the courage to apply for a job in this organization. So just being respectful of your boundaries, asking those difficult questions. It is important just to do these little things which lead to massive impacts. That's it. A small thing can make a massive impact. Just do that, your bit of doing that small thing. That's it.
Absolutely. And I think to take the conversation a little forward, we have yet another question who wants to know, what are allies and what are ally groups for? You'd like to elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I mean, allies are just to make sure that, I mean, I think we've spoken long ago. I mean, we'll be speaking about it right through the afternoon. But really, ally just means being there for everyone. And I don't want to really compartmentalize people into LGBTQI or differently abled or whatever. It's just about being there for everyone. I think it's intrinsic to us. I think human beings have a level of compassion and understanding, and it does puzzle me, and still puzzles me that we tend to restrict our compassion or kindness to cohorts which are similar to us. So I think being an ally is just being there for everyone. And I think you've demonstrated that over a period of time. I personally have a lot of faith in this organization. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a privilege to lead this organization, and I've seen a lot of compassion, a lot of fairness, a lot of understanding, and that's why we are where we are. We are the only general insurance company in the top 100. Great Place to Work is surveyed among 60,000 companies in over 60 countries. I mean, to make it to the list, talks about the fact that we got something about the culture right. And this culture can give rise to allies. And if this culture can't give rise to allies, I don't know which place can really. So if just come from a place of compassion and love and acceptance, and I think we'll be there. And yeah.
All right. Does the audience here have any questions? Now the hands are coming up. I am not sure if we have the time, but maybe we can take one question from the audience.
Hello, and thank you for such a lovely conversation that we had today. I just want to ask that it's a challenge to have women employees also. I mean, it's a challenge to have gender equality in terms of men and women. And now we are talking about LGBTQ, right? And what do you think? She said, there are graduates who are begging. So why do you think there's why are they not coming in for the interviews which are happening for everyone? It's not. I mean, when we are doing drives for LGBTQ specifically, that's a different story altogether. But then for the general public also, the drives are happening. Why do you think people from LGBTQ community? I mean, I think they're coming, but then trans people specifically, I'm talking about, who are begging and are educated and are and they deserve a job there. Why do you think they are not being a part of those drives?
Can I take that for a second before? Look, I mean, I have a hypothesis, and then I'll be challenged on the hypothesis. But my hypothesis is that possibly the degree of acceptance for trans is lower than for LGBTQ. That's what it logically would appear to be. So I think that's really sad.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. See, for example, a transgender person, when you talk about gender and orientation are two different things. So a woman can be heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. A man can be heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. A transgender person on that very level of gender is so out, so visibly out by default. There is no particular characteristic of a cisgendered male or female that you can catch and say this is gay or this is lesbian or this is bisexual. But for trans people, that is the reason why I say that trans people should be given. This is my personal view, and I share it with. It's sad that we have to go through this. It's very sad because you might be saying no to not you, I'm saying, but like an organization might be saying closing doors to someone like me. It doesn't mean that I won't get what I have to get. It'll take me time. But you could have been the catalyst in that journey of this person getting to where they have to get. So whose loss is it? At the end of the day, definitely all of us, all the parties involved lose somewhere. But at the same time, if you have the courage of conviction, like a Zoya or a Rani or a Lakshmi or a Gauri or an Abhina, you'll get where you have to get because we are hustlers. We might look a certain way to you and we might have, but those are your conceptions about trans people. हम क्या करें? हमने कुछ गलत किया नहीं. So हमें भगवान ने बनाया ऐसे. This is how we are made. And our parents don't have an issue with it. Today, if I'm sitting here, I wish lot many trans people come and sit here. But because they're so visibly transgender, the rate of discrimination or the degree of discrimination is higher for them. And therefore they don't get jobs. And then therefore they don't get, because these are preconceived notions now we have. As she said, ye mard hai, aurat hai, kya hai, kaun hai, chakka hai, ye hai, wo hai. These are things that are the first things as soon as I walk inside the door. Not specific to any organization, but anywhere. It's about my gender. Why? Why can't you talk about my qualifications or my resume that is on your table? These are things we don't, they'll be like, kaun sa tick mark kiya hai, male kiya hai, female kiya hai, other kiya hai. So these are the things that cloud their perception about trans people. So I think that we need to have, we have to go around with advocacy and sensitization workshops. We have to sensitize our people that everybody is worthy of being part of an organization. You don't decide that they're not. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And to end this chat in a beautiful manner, we have a very peculiar request for Sushant. Now, one of our viewers has asked you to sing a song, please, if you would like to oblige them, a song that empowers you.
First of all, you tell me where you got your earrings from. I've been distracted with these pretty earrings.
Thank you
and
so
again,
much.
put your hands together for a wonderful MC.
Thank you so much.
आप सच कह रही हो ना, उन्होंने पूछा कि आपकी रिक्वेस्ट है ये?
नहीं, ये online आई है. I
अच्छा.
wish I could have asked for a
Okay.
lot of things, but yes, we have a request
I'll
online.
show you. Okay, I'll sing one song. It's something that I was listening to while doing my makeup, and Aditi is fed up of this song, but I love it. It's a very upbeat song. Okay. Oh, रुकी सी जिंदगी झट से चल पड़ी, हुई खुशी से दोस्ती, मजा ले हर घड़ी, या
Oh my God. Well, wasn't that fabulous? And I don't know how many people knew here that you sing so beautifully, but this was really, really outstanding. What a lovely voice.
And I want to dedicate a song to Selena for all the work she has done. And just very recently, she was also the ambassador, and she has been supporting the Mr. Gay India pageant, which sends delegates to the Mr. Gay World pageant, and for so many years has been supporting. So I'm going to sing a Marathi song. Huh? The Marathi audience, sagli mandali tithe hai. I love when I can. Okay, I got it. कोमल काया की मोह माया, पुनवत चांदन नाले, सोन्यात सजले, रुपयात भिजले, रत्न प्रभात नुनाले, ही नटली थटली जशी उमटली, चांदणी रंग महाली, मी यौवन पिचली, पाहुन थिजली, इंद्र सभा भवताली, अप्सरा आली, पुनव चांदन नाली. Y'all are not singing on? अप्सरा आली, पुनव चांदन नाली.
You know, when you have
for you.
अरे जोरदार ताळ्या वाजवा, काय मस्त गाय, छान छान, खूप छान. तिकडे बघा, सिटी पण वाजल्या.
full song.
Oh my God, isn't she Apsara? Isn't she an Apsara? And thank you so much for being that for the community, for everybody, for humanity. And Anup, you are also the male version of an Apsara. For उसको क्या बोलते हैं? Whatever, the male version of the Apsara, for doing this and engaging.
They better get better jokes. Huh?
Yeah.
After this.
Exactly. But sab hase. तो मतलब not at your expense, at your expense. But thank you for having this conversation with us, and it's been brilliant. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Selena. Thank you, Shant. Thank you for making the time. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a wonderful day today. And I think we won't do justice if we don't show our energy levels, the energy levels that we had before they came on stage. So much before that, when we did the parade and the quiz before that. So I think with the quiz, you all know a lot better. And especially with this chat that we had, have understood so much better. Keep exploring, keep doing your research, and keep taking great pointers. So now let us show them our energy levels. How did you enjoy this one? Let's have a huge round of applause. Khoob Chan, what a wonderful response. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being a wonderful audience. And now, of course, we would like to honor and thank our guests for joining us today, for taking out the time. So without further ado, can I please request our heads at Future Generali to kindly present the mementos to our guests. So may I request Ms. Ruchika Verma, our Chief Marketing Officer. Can we have a round of applause for her, please? May I request Mr. Sunil Warrior, Chief People Officer, to join us? And we already have Mr. Anup Rao, our MD and CEO, present here. So let's have a huge round of applause for them, please. And let us present the mementos.
We have all the colors of the rainbow, yeah.
I have more than one color.
Thank you once again, Ms. Jaitley, and thank you, Sushant, for that lovely conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause, please. And a big thank you to all of you for joining us and for your wonderful participation. Please do remember to take pictures at the selfies, at the booth, and also with the props, and share your pictures on social media using the hashtag #StandWith. Yes, indeed. Stand with pride, especially on LinkedIn. We would love to see that. And do join us for snacks at the pantry area. And also we have a heart cut out at the reception. So please do take pictures there. And we would like you to write your meaning of pride at the reception at the heart cutout. So remember to write your meaning of pride. What does pride mean to you at the reception heart cutout? And thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for this wonderful celebration. Thank you once again. Yeah, I don't mind.